Hi friends, I'm Rosa. Welcome. So, October is upon us. We are well through on our way. I don't know how to phrase this. I'm moving on. We're in October, yes, and that means we are reading witchy books, right? Are you on the same page as me? Good. So, I decided to gather or put together a little list of me-approved witchy books that you can read here in October, maybe possibly also in November. Witchy books that I feel are good. Good reads, amazing reads, we love them. A little bit of variety as well in them, I think. Both in terms of what kind of witches we're dealing with, but also genres. And so we're gonna go through them today. I will make sure to leave links to all of the books in the description box down below, by the way, because I know that my summaries get a little bit all over the place. And so you'll find maybe some more helpful descriptions through those links. But for now, let's get started. So, I actually have two by the same author, but I really enjoyed both books. Maybe the first one, possibly more than the second one, but we are talking about Rachel Griffin's The Nature of Witches and Wild is the Witch. These are definitely two different kinds of witches. This is more like seasons based, whereas this is more like hexes and curses and spells based. Two different concepts though, so we're starting out with this one. In this one, we follow our lead girl she's a witch in a world, or like a version of our world, where everyone knows that witches exist. They're very tied to seasons, they are very tied to nature and environment as well, and it's very important that the witches kind of have their whole magic under control and stuff because they're so tied to the environment. And so one thing about this witch community though is that they need one witch that is able to perform magic throughout every season, because usual like normal witches are tied to just one season, so their magic is like something specific to that season. Our lead girl is the special witch, the one that has ties to all of the seasons, but she's also not been trained to use it. She's very hesitant to use it. She's very hesitant to even acknowledge that she has this power, and so she needs help of a mentor to gain control of them and learn how to use them properly and stuff. And so it's about that. Her and her mentor don't really get along very well, but it is like a hate to love sort of romance story. If you will. YA romance, or YA fantasy with romance, I would say. Not a romantasy. Super cute though. Easy read. Very pretty as well. It's a debut, and I think Rachel Griffin did a great job with it. So, The Nature of Witches. Then her other book is Wild is the Witch. And in this one, we follow our lead girl who is also, I think witches in this world technically aren't like public knowledge, or their existence isn't public knowledge. She works at a wildlife refuge, or whatever it's called. I don't actually, what is the term for it? Oh, that is the term! Wow. Anyway, with her mother. And there's a guy working there whose name is Pike. And her and Pike don't get along at all. Pike is actually really grinding her gears, really getting on her nerves. And so she decides to kind of just like, you know, some people write diaries, or some people rant to their friends, or vent, I should probably call it. She writes curses, and then she just kind of like lets them go, so they don't really, nothing comes from them, nothing happens. She just writes them down and then she lets them go. Unfortunately, she writes one that's aimed at Pike, that would basically, if something happens, like if it goes through, he would have to go through this very dangerous process of becoming a witch himself. Not easy, very dangerous, life-threatening, etc, etc, etc. Whatever. And so she definitely does not mean for anything to happen with this curse. She's just kind of like, you know, trying to let it go. Except an owl swoops down and picks up the curse and then flies off. Unfortunately as well, there's something special about this owl. I don't know if I can tell you, so I'm not going to, but there's something special about this owl. And so our lead girl is like, oh dang, I gotta get this curse back. I cannot let this, no, I gotta get it back. And so she goes off on a trip to find this owl, and also brings Pike with her, and they do not get along super well. But again, a little bit of a hate to lovers sort of situation. Also YA fantasy with romance, and I enjoyed it a lot. Very easy read as well. Then we have another kind of story. This is a little bit more like cozy fantasy. So The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, it has the longest title, by Sango Mandana, who's actually coming out with a new book next year, and I'm so excited. Also another, I'm not generally good with cozy fantasy. I need action in my books and tension and stakes of some kind. But this worked so well for me. I think it has there's the right balance. Like, it's very cozy and calming, but also has a little bit of like, oh no, what's gonna happen? So we follow our lead girl, who is in a version of our world where we don't know witches exist. Us normal humans who do not have powerful powers of any kind. We don't know that witches exist, and they're supposed to keep very secret. Our lead girl is a witch. She, however, makes a living off of making YouTube videos, or the equivalent of YouTube videos, on doing witchy stuff. But like, everyone's just like, yeah, you know, like, she's posing as a witch without being a witch, but she is a witch. Yes. And so one day she gets a letter or a message, email or something from a guy who's like, could you come to our house and teach our kids because they're witches and they could really need someone like you. And she doesn't really know what to do with it. She doesn't know if it's a joke. She ends up actually going through with it, and when she gets there, first of all, the kids are adorable. There's a librarian guy there though who's kind of hesitant to let her close to anyone. He's also not super nice to her. And then there's this like threatening thing looming over the people in this house that I cannot tell you what is, but there's definitely a deadline coming up and something needs to be done. So yes. The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. If you want a cozy fantasy with witches, this has got you covered. I have some ebooks as well that I don't have as physical copies that I've really enjoyed. All different kinds of witches as well. So we're starting out with The Crimson Moth by Kristen Ciccarelli. I don't actually know if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly. I have no idea. But also known as The Rebel Witch, in which we follow our lead girl, who is a witch in a world where she's not allowed to be one, even though they're born as witches. She's just not allowed to be. And so she's, you know, dealing with that, but also actually spending her free time freeing witches that are kept captive for being witches. And to do this, because they have one specific witch in captivity right now as the story is going on that she really needs to free, she decides to get closer to like the lead witch hunter guy, who's also her best friend's brother. Yep. So she can get information on like, where are they taking this witch? Where is she kept? Is there any kind of loophole? Can I get through this system so that I can free her and stuff like that? He is also trying to get information on her because he suspects her of being this witch who is freeing other witches, aka the Crimson Moth. And so it's about their little like tango that they're doing. They kind of like both suspect each other of something, but they can't really like say. And it's a cool dance. I like it. It's a YA, what I would call romantasy probably. And I sped through this, I think it was like 450 pages or something, but it was such a cool, nice, very flowy, very quickly paced, very like smooth ride, if you will. It was really, really good. So, The Crimson Moth. Next up, I had this book. I sold it because I loved to read it, by the way, but I just wasn't interested in rereading it. But Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas, which is more about bruja and brujo, but there's still witches and wizards? I don't think so. kinds of witches. So in this story we follow Yadriel, who is a brujo. He is also trans, which means, so in this version of our world, the magic is split up. So if you are a female, you have a certain kind of magic, which is like, I think it's more like nurturing healing, which is meh. I hate this, like, it's fine, we're not having this talk in this video. And the other one is, I believe, if I recall correctly, something about like helping ghosts find their way and like crossover and stuff like that. And so with Yadriel being trans, his family is not necessarily fully accepting because, well, you were born this way, so your magic should be like this. And so he's very set on proving to his family that he is in fact a brujo and not a bruja. And then he summons a ghost that he just cannot get rid of. And it's like, not the golden boy of the school, but the school's bad boy is what he is. He's got a mouth on him, he's got an attitude, and he just won't let Yadriel be. Unfortunately for Yadriel, he was supposed to have summoned his cousin, who was murdered, and you know, his whole goal was to, well, if I can summon my cousin and find out what actually happened to him, I think he was murdered, I can't remember, it's fine, then my family will accept me as a brujo. a brujo. But he ends up with Julian, this school's bad boy who happens to be dead. And so they end up teaming up to basically, so they both can like figure out their things. Julian can sort out his stuff so he can like cross over and move on, and Yadriel will get help from Julian solving whatever's going on with the witches or brujegs. It's so much easier to just say witches. And so that is what it's about. Bit of a love story in there as well, just saying. But very cute, very like fast-paced as well. Interesting, getting a little bit of an insight into a different community than the one I'm personally used to, so I really enjoyed that part of it as well. And also different witches and stuff, even though I'm not a huge fan of the whole like it's split up into genders. I don't love that. I don't know. But that's a talk for another video. Next one is our dearest Circe, the original witches, or the original witch of the witches, Circe. This is a Greek mythology retelling. It's by Madeline Miller. It is beautiful. I loved it. Every single moment of it. 5 stars for me. I will never part ways with this book. I love it to bits. She's mine forever. And she's gorgeous. So this is the story of how Circe ended up on the island that she, if you might know about Circe, she was on an island for the very longest time. There's been visitors throughout Greek mythology that have seen Circe on this island and come to visit her, talk to her, and what do you know? All different kinds of stuff, and it's basically about that, but also Circe just actually getting a story. Because what the heck. And so I couldn't make a witch video, a witchy books video, without including the original witch, especially not when the book is that good. I love it. I love Circe. I want to reread it all of a sudden. Oh, we're not doing that right now. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful, you can read this all year. It's not just necessarily an October or November read. Read it whenever, just make sure that you read it. Thank you. Then we have one, this is a trilogy that I've not finished yet, but again, I could not do a witchy video without including Kingdom of the Wicked. This was a huge series a while back. I have still not read the 3rd book. I think I started it, read 4 chapters and was a bit like, yeah, I don't know. Moving on. We'll figure it out eventually. At some point I'll be like, yep, now is the time. It just wasn't the time at that time. But we have, I think part of it as well is that it's swapped from like, this is very YA coded, and then it turns into something that's a little bit like hesitantly new adult coded in the sequel, and it's supposed to be sort of spicy in the 3rd one, but like I don't really know. I think the ending of the 2nd one hit me like oh, you're really gonna pull that on me? Like what? That's just rude. Anyway, so we'll figure it out though. We'll figure it out with the 3rd one. I just need to like reel that back in, you know? That said, I actually really loved the 1st book, and I know some people did not feel the same way about the 2nd book and the ending as I did. It's just a me problem. So I have to mention it because I actually want people to read this, if you have not. Because I feel people kind of stopped talking about it a little bit. But in this one, we follow our lead girl who is, she has a twin, which is very important. She is a witch, so is her twin. And she kind of, how does it happen? She ends up finding the body of her sister, as in like the sister's past. She comes across the body and then decides that she wants to figure out what happened to her sister, and to figure this out, she ends up summoning one of the princes of hell. Things might go a little bit wrong, she ends up making a deal with him, and now they're kind of stuck together while sort of solving the death of her twin sister. And there's a bit of a love story. Do we call this romantasy? Yes. I will not, because the series continues. It's not really YA. I don't think I would consider this YA anymore, although the 1st one is not spicy at all. So that's the best I can give you. It's a good series though. I love the whole like concept of the Princess of Hell and stuff. And I know she's continued it as well as more of like an actual spicy romantasy situation with Throne of the Fallen, which I believe I have an arc of and I have not read it, which is kind of awkward, but I really want to read the Kingdom of the last one before moving it Feared? Kingdom of the Feared before moving on, so we'll see. But definitely witches. A lot of talk about witches, a lot of talk about food as well. So if you're hungry, do not read this book. Or maybe do, but make sure you eat at the same time. And yes, I actually really enjoyed the 1st one. I really did. We have as well a graphic novel, which is cute. I love the style in this graphic novel. Over My Dead Body, Over My Dead Body by Sweeney Boo. I believe that's their name, Sweeney Boo. The style in this and like color choices and everything like that, perfect for right now if you live in the Northern Hemisphere. Perfect. And if you don't, then wait until the trees, like if you live in the Southern Hemisphere, wait until and you experience autumn, because I don't know how that works. As in, like, are there places in the world where the trees just stay green all the time? Like, I'm from the north, okay? The plants die here, okay? They're in the process of doing it right now, but it's fine. It's just the whole like color choice. It's very orange. It's very warm. It's very autumnal. Definitely, if you want those vibes and you want like scenery inspired by autumn, yes, perfect. Can I fully remember what the story is? No, actually not. Something about a mystery about someone who died as well, and she has to figure out what happened, and it's like a girl from the school because it takes place at a magic school. It's very cute. Bit of a romance in there as well. I believe it's a girl and girl romance, if I recall correctly, because I think it's a girls only school too. All the witches are female. So, and I just remember I like devoured it in like half an hour or an hour or something, and it was so cute. I should probably reread it. Yes, I would do it for the style alone because it's adorable, but perfect witchy autumnal sort of graphic novel for right now if you live in the Northern Hemisphere, at least. Then we have another romantasy. It's a romantasy series. It's by Ivy Asher. Yes, Ivy Asher. I just wanted to make sure that I got the name right. It's called The Bone Witch, or the Oseus, I don't know, Chronicles. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's fine. This series is about a woman who comes from like a line of witches, a family of witches, where the majority, like the major power, is passed on from one person to another. Once this person passes, it moves on to someone else. And she's like content with not being the choice because everyone knows it's gonna be someone else. And it happens through this like, suddenly this like family heirloom just manifests. In this case, it's got something to do with bones because she's the bone witch, right? I don't exactly remember what their magic is, but it's cool. It's got something to do with bones. And so she's just content, you know, she's doing her thing, living her life, and like she knows that she's not going to be the one that the magic passes on to. And then lo and behold, one day while she's just, you know, going through her day, going about her day, this bag of bones manifests and she's like, oh shit. Because this means her grandma, or whoever it was, has passed, the powers have moved on, and they've chosen her. And then to make it even more confusing, this handsome stranger shows up on her step and is like, oh, by the way, you need to help me because people are killing us witches. And she's just standing there like, I don't even want to be a part of this, by the way. I don't know what's going on. Leave me alone. But, you know, there wouldn't be a book if it went that way. So there you go. There's like an overlying issue going on in this book, or in this series. A lot of it has to do with the guy as well. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but witches are dying. They need to figure out what's going on, and so they're, you know, doing their thing. I can't remember. I've read these like I think 2 of them in basically 1.5 days or something, so I can't really remember exactly what, but there's one of them. Is it 3 or 4 books actually, now that I think about it? I read them so quickly. I flew through them. I devoured them. There's one of them though that I liked a little bit less than the others, and I just can't remember why, but I know that's not helpful in any way. Just thought I would mention it. I don't know. But overall, I thought this was a good series, so definitely if you're looking for witches of different kinds where they have different kinds of magic and the whole like passes down from one generation to another and there's like chaos in the witchy families, you know, it's a pretty good one. I think it's also still on KU, but I could be wrong about it. And then lastly, we have a demon-possessed chicken story. A bone dog story. I really like this one. Why is it so scratchy? What happened to my book? She looks like she's gone through a lot. Anyway, we got Nettle Bone by T. Kingfisher, which is, it's not, the lead character is not a witch per se, but there is a witch in it. It has like super fairy, okay, I was about to say it has like super fairy tale vibes, and then it literally says this isn't a fairy tale where the princess marries a prince. It's the one where she kills him. It is a fairy tale. It has fairy tale vibes. It has a lot of fun stuff in it. In short, we follow our lead character who wants to free her sister because the prince is not treating the sister very well. And I think he's gone through a couple of wives as well, and they've all just sort of ended up dead. So she's like, I need to free my sister. She gathers a group of, frankly, a group of misfits, a band of misfits to pull off this mission. There's a knight who's been banished or something, an exiled knight. There's a witch. There's someone else who has witchy vibes to her. I can't remember, or she's like a fairy godmother. But she like has magic as well. And there's a chicken and a bone dog. The chicken is possessed by, I'm pretty sure possessed by a demon. It's fine. And bone dog. There's a bone dog as well. It's a dog made out of bones. He's cute. He's adorable. And they go off on their mission to free the sister. I think there's supposed to be some horror vibes to this, but I thought it was just funny and charming. I don't know, maybe a little bit of like body gore or something. A couple of skeletons and ghosts here and there, but not like too scary. So, and I really like the witch. I like the witch in it. And the godmother, the fairy godmother. I thought they had a nice thing going on. The godmother was old, very old, older than Mara knew a person could be. She did not have wrinkles any longer. You get to a point where your wrinkles just disappear. That's interesting. Anyway, and it's super short too. It's like a tiny book and it's only 300 pages or something. So a fun little story. Demon possessed chicken. That's not something you see every day. I'm just saying, if I haven't sold it to you on just that, then I don't know what else to do. It's cute though. I mean, it's supposed to be a little bit scary. I thought it was cute. And that's the story. Or those were the books. I don't know why I said that. So again, I will leave links to all of the books in the description box down below if you want to go get some clearer summaries of them. I don't blame you at all. No disrespect. Or no disrespect taken. We're fine, we're good. You will find those in the description box down below. There will be to both Amazon and Waterstones, so whatever floats your boat. But that is all I got for you guys today, so I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to hit the thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like this from me, but also all the other booktube stuff, definitely consider sticking around by clicking on the subscribe button. However, I'm gonna leave you to it now. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye!